Yeah. Are we? Are we? Oh, hey, welcome. Hey. So, welcome to the Business Building Book Club. I'm your host, Molly from Visibility Hacking Studios. As always, we have the video Jedi himself, Mr. Lefty. We have the mental marketer, Mr. Mark. And we're going to wrap up this incredible book that we've been reading from the genius himself, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. We have been reading the classic Jab, 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 Right Hook. So we've gone through and we've talked about what jabs and right hooks are. So jabs are those regular pieces of content that you're putting out where you're getting your people to know who you are. You're getting them to know. Lefty does lifestyle content, for example, the sneak peek, the behind the scenes of what it's like to be you. And then when we write hook, that's when we're presenting offers. And so Gary tells us, make sure you're spending more time on those jabs because those are going to feed your audience. And when they're ready, that's when you hit them with that right hook. But there's more to that book than just that first chapter. We also learned about how to apply this in Instagram, in YouTube, in we did Tumblr and Pinterest and all of these different social platforms. Facebook. And we're going to talk about more of them today as well.
Yeah.
Because we got the last few chapters, and this is the last episode that we are going to be talking about this book. So get all of the emotions, all of the feelings out, because it's time to get going.
It's going.
So we've got chapter 8, round 8, which is opportunities in emerging networks. Okay, emerging networks as written 10 years ago. So some of these networks may or may not still exist. And I think this would be fun to take a look at. So round 8, first thing we talked about LinkedIn. So do we think LinkedIn has gotten a boost in the last 10 years, kind of done nothing, or has fallen flat? What are your guesses?
It's most definitely on the uprise. I mean, it's like I mean, it's hard to give a comparison, but like I feel like it's playing I feel like Microsoft is playing a super slow game with how the platform is moving. I also like the fact that it's still, even though it's adding all these different bells and whistles to grab people's attention, to be like, hey, you can make like a background, you can make a post of the background, you can put up a video, you could do this, you could do that. I feel like they're very good at, they know their why.
Exactly.
And they're just sticking to it. They're not like, we're not here to give you fluffy garbage the way every other platform is giving you with all these different tools and participation trophies and all this. We're here for business to business relationships. That's what you get when you come with us. End of story, period. And and I feel like a lot of people that, let's say, don't know how to build audiences on Facebook and Instagram, or don't know, okay, maybe not audiences, but don't know how to build business relationships on Facebook and Instagram, because it is a whole completely different beast. You're seeing a lot of these individuals gravitate towards something, a platform that was for essentially our age group and older, right? Because they know that they're going to find someone that they're going to work with, maybe sometimes almost immediately.
Yeah. I'd like to add to what you said, Lefty, about LinkedIn and its brand identity. And LinkedIn has been able to secure that niche. And it is, you know what you're going to LinkedIn for, but what they've done is a good job of integrating all these additional features. They have LinkedIn. There are LinkedIn groups. There are LinkedIn short videos. I think the maximum might be 5 or maybe a little bit longer or something like that. But you can also stream live video on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You've got a combination of posting videos and written content, and it works well for generating leads. It is a great lead generating platform. And just one thing before we just get into it real deep today, I want to say, may the 4th be with you guys.
Oh, yes. I have my cloak.
You sell video. And to all those out there watching, give us a shout out in the comments. Show us that you're here. And but
as an outdoor educator, today is the day I get to sign all of my emails. May the forest be with you.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
All right. So LinkedIn, we know LinkedIn is amazing. We know LinkedIn is growing. And I think they're doing a pretty good job at it because they're keeping that ecosystem really coherent. They know who their audience is. They're not just trying to grab anyone. They are a professional network. There's still gates that you need to go through in order to have certain features and things like that, and to connect with certain people. It's not like Facebook where you can just request friends with everyone, right? Remember MySpace back in the day where you used to have like your top 6 or whatever, your top 8, and that was like oh man, it was like the coveted space was to be in someone's top 8 friends because those friends were publicly shown on your profile. The rest of your friends you couldn't really find. And I think of LinkedIn in that way of like
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of the equivalent of top fan on Facebook. Because now when you become a top fan of somebody, you get a badge with your name. And every time you post or make a comment or engage with that profile, it will say like Mark Douglas, top fan. And everybody can see that. So
the difference is on MySpace, though, the profile holder was the one who picked who showed up there. So I remember back in the day, I was like, Eminem is going to be one of my top fans, or my top friends. And then turned out that account was fake. But then you guys remember Sacha Baron Cohen? And he did Bruno.
Yeah.
So Bruno's character, it was actually his account, and we would converse back and forth regularly. And for a brief period of time, I got to be on his top friends, which was crazy. But I like that idea. All right, so LinkedIn, we know LinkedIn is amazing. If you guys are watching live or on the replay, let us know if you guys are on LinkedIn, because I bet you're not on our next social platform.
Well, one more thing about LinkedIn is just that, we're speaking about the language of that platform. And it's interesting because he mentions in the book about you don't go on LinkedIn and you don't see a lot of emojis. You don't see LOL or LMAO. It's just more of professional discussions. But however, LinkedIn, if you haven't been on there lately, they have added more reactions. And it's not just the thumbs up like it had been, but this change is probably within the last year. And they have a heart emoji. They have an idea emoji. And they have a thumbs down emoji, which is also a little bit of controversial. But I like that.
That's interesting. When you're posting, like when you're reacting on LinkedIn with those reactions, can you see how many people have reacted in each way like you can on Facebook?
Yes.
Interesting, because on YouTube, we all know they got rid of the ability to see the number of dislikes. You can still press the dislike button. It still plays into your algorithm, but you don't get to see how many people are disliking. You can see how many people like. So I find that interesting because LinkedIn, I see as a more professional, clearly a more professional place of conversation. So it's not as emotionally reactive as a place that I find Facebook is very emotionally reactive. Yeah, LinkedIn is very logical. And so a dislike I would weigh differently on LinkedIn than I would on Facebook, for example, which is interesting. And I love the idea button. That is, I want an idea button everywhere.
LinkedIn's slogan should just be like, it's not personal, it's just business.
Yeah. It's about different. You're allowed to have a different point of view on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Whereas other program or other platforms, when you have a differing opinion, it's going to raise, just gonna shake some. What do you say? It's gonna give people wedgies.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Let's talk about a platform I bet you're not on. So our next platform, I want to know if it's thriving, if it's just the same, or if it's like out of the picture. Google Plus.
The unanimous decision.
So it says here Google Plus was launched in 2011 and it had at one point 500 million users. And I know it was definitely used as a platform for Google employees and people within the Google sphere to communicate with each other. But its failure happened because of a very clunky user interface. It is ugly. It's not user friendly. It wasn't forward thinking. But Gary V's like, the future of Google Plus as a viable marketing platform is one big question mark.
Yeah. He knew back then. It is. Because they didn't offer anything different that you couldn't get from the other platforms. And I think he felt that those enrollment numbers were inflated. Because in order to grab an email account, it automatically signed you up for a Google Plus account. So they were inflating it to make it seem as though it was this thriving platform when it wasn't.
It's like, nope, that's just people with Gmail accounts.
Yeah.
Nobody's using it.
I know I signed up and I tried to use it, but it was just, I didn't understand the purpose. I didn't understand the native language of communicating with people. How do you get people to see your content? Was it just your sphere of people who are connected through your inbox, which creeped me out? And so I was off that platform as quick as I could be.
Yeah. So it's been a few years since it has dissolved.
Yeah. So 2019. So it lasted not even 10 years.
Yeah. Do you think that because the concept behind it was a social media platform attached to a search engine, and I think what he said in here was that when you had that, it gave your content preferential treatment with search engines.
Yeah, the same way that we get with YouTube.
I think YouTube.
Yeah, because YouTube, owned by Google, attached to the search algorithm. So that's why when we're putting in our keywords and we're writing our descriptions and we're writing our tags and all of that stuff, we're thinking in terms of SEO and keyword optimization and search optimization. So I wonder, so if Google Plus had made it to today, the same way that that YouTube functions in the Google atmosphere, maybe I could actually have survived.
That's a good question.
I mean, imagine having a database of emails that would be a free-for-all for any business owner or entrepreneur without even having to ask for them. I think there's a positive and a negative in that. The negative is we would just be bombarded with spam 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from millions and millions of advertisers just trying to get their products out there. That is where I see, unless they put some measures in place to do certain blocks, and maybe they like maybe with Facebook, how they only allow you to send 50 DMs a day or whatever the case might be. LinkedIn is like roughly about they say you can go up to 100, but your sweet spot is between 30 and 50 as well. Like if there were regulations in place, I can see it being super dominant that way. But I feel like some guy would be like, I just built some AI tool that can crack and you can send 20 million emails in 1 hour, and all of a sudden it just goes to shits.
Oh yeah, shut that man's internet connection off.
Yeah, get his IP address.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna leave Google Plus in the trash. That's our verdict.
Yeah. Big fail.
All right.
Big fail.
Big fail. Big fail. All right. A platform that I okay. Back in the day, my internet loving friends introduced me to a platform that was just short videos. And I'm scrolling through them and I did not see the point. It was just prank videos left, right, and center. So I want to know, thriving, flopping, failing, Vine.
Well, clearly we know it failed.
But
there, I have a thought too.
Some good concepts came out of it, though.
Exactly. So I would say the platform itself failed. The concept is thriving because that's what's that I think laid the foundation for TikTok, for shorts, for reels, etc.
It's amazing. It's amazing to read how Gary kind of predicted it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like,
it makes you say, wow, I need to listen to this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that it's not impressive finding a way to grab somebody's attention in 6 seconds. Like if you know how to do it extremely well, there's an art to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but just get the attention could be easy, but then
holding it, that's the thing, right? That's where I was going to get to next.
Because you can do anything.
It's like imagine if I had nothing underneath this and I was like, guys, like, okay, I got your attention, but
now what?
Now what? Right?
Yeah.
So the hook aspect of things is fantastic, but lately everybody is so focused on just that hook that they forget about, the beef, the juice, we need more slow cooker content. Like that's what I think. We need more slow cooker content. And I feel like as much as the creator economy has grown, and I love to see that there are more people out there, I also feel like it's time to really pull the storytellers forward and kind of push the rest of the individuals behind that are just jumping on bandwagons.
Yeah. One thing he mentioned about Vine that I really thought was interesting is that he pointed out that people were just posting pictures and have it play for like 6 seconds. And he said, no, you have to do the same thing with the 6 seconds that you do with your longer form. Having cuts, having captions, so that he saw it back then that you really had to, and he talked about it actually, and this is something I've said in a previous episode about how it challenges you to become a much better storyteller in a much shorter time frame. And if you can tell a story in a 6 second, 7 second clip, that takes really stripping off a lot of fluff and getting to the core elements of storytelling, which is storytelling. You got character, a goal, and a conflict.
Yep.
Hey, one of my colleagues from back in the day, I obviously don't speak to him anymore, but he became an internet sensation from Vine. Like he became, he pretty much became like one of those like internet millionaires, I guess, like just from Vine. he understood and knew how to, I guess, manipulate the platform, and it was just that he was literally just making gag videos, but the gag videos that he was making were also relatable. So that that's like one of the key factors in getting people's attention is, can they relate to the video, right? If it's just something that they're watching and it's like, oh haha, it's funny or whatever, like if there's no relatability, you're not gonna go far. Like, sure, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, but then after come the 5th video, okay, dude, it gets old, you know.
But when you look at the shocking images that grab your attention, it's typically those. Okay, so I'm looking at one of my social media platforms yesterday, and I see this image of this guy with this humongous muscle, and it makes you say, it makes that person say, "Oh my gosh!" But I think today they use a lot of sexualized material. A lot of sexualized material to get, and a lot of controversial leaked documents. Did you leaked documents? But it's so that's if you want to, I tend to not like that type of what do you call it, that shock, because because what happens is you read it, and then the watcher, you get disappointed. If you don't, I think Daryl Eves said it best when he said, you really have to deliver on the message, deliver on the promise, deliver on the promise of the hook. And when you don't deliver, you disappoint that person. When you've got to watch a video and they're saying, watch, I'm gonna do this, and then they start doing it, and then they're like, oh wait, I'm gonna do this still, and then you're still watching, and then you end up spending 4 minutes of your life waiting.
Yeah, just clickbait.
Clickbait is not, it's not good long term. You may get some short-term rewards, but in the long term, it will hurt you and your viewers' trust in you.
Idea. Here's my LinkedIn reaction. Idea. That makes me think of what we were just talking about with LinkedIn being a more, I don't want to say cerebral platform, but a platform of logic rather than a platform of emotion, where when you have those controversial clickbaity titles, people are going to react emotionally rather than stepping back and having that think about what is actually being discussed here. What is the root value? Let's dig a little bit deeper. So, for example, Marley Jacks released that crazy documentary about cancel culture. And in order to launch that, there was this whole social experiment that went about that got people emotionally fired up. There was not much logic when you're reading through the comments and the threads. There wasn't much logic there at all. It was either people are emotionally trying to protect Marley, saying, hey, Dan, you're being an a-hole, you're stepping out of line, or it was people being like, just emotionally jumping on the bandwagon of arguing. But once she explained it, once she went live and launched the official video and said, look, this is why we did it. I want you to take that emotion and go a step deeper and understand why you're actually angry. And I thought that was really interesting to see it happen on different platforms that I'm not used to seeing that as the native language. Facebook, it's emotion. It was so interesting to see people starting to try and get a little bit more intellectual, a little bit more logical in their responses to something.
And you know what? She mentioned something during that time, or maybe we mentioned it in a way for her, but we literally spoke about true colors when we interviewed her, right? And that's another reason, especially on Facebook. That's another reason why, especially on Facebook, when someone DMs me to blow up my head, I literally just say, cut the crap, tell me what you want to sell me. Like, I'm not here, like, to be honest with you, I'm not here to try and have a fake friend that in 2-3 days from now is just going to give me their actual agenda. You know?
You have to wait for them to hit that part of the script.
Yeah, like how about you just,
the script?
How about you just tell me what you're asking me of? I'm gonna say yes or no, and then we can be friends after. But like, and this is why I literally, like, 90% of my DMs is literally just telling people, like, hey, I hope you don't mind a little bit of persistence, but this is what I have. You know, like, at the end of the day, like, again, I'm gonna, you know, it's a very small group of people where they'll actually buy from an inner circle. But, you know, family doesn't buy from you. Friends typically don't buy from you. So I feel like there's a lot of people in this social media world right now that are friend zoning each other. And then when you get into that friend zone, you wonder, oh my God, you know, I built all this rapport and now Mark doesn't even want my product or service. Yeah, because Mark's your friend now. He knows you in and out. He knows your deal, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Mark would still spend money with you, but you have to show me that you can provide some value, you know?
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they, you know, if you're struggling with that, read the jab, right hook book.
I mean, I support friends all the time. I buy their stuff. I always buy. If it's something that I want, I'm going to a colleague first. I'm not going, I'm going to exhaust my resources. And then if you physically cannot do anything for me, I'm going to an outsider person. But I just feel like a lot of individuals get to this point where they're trying so hard to just be this person's friend. And then all of a sudden, when that person turns around and goes, nah, dude, I don't care for what you're buying, you get super butthurt. You got to remember, as a business owner, you're there to do business first. Then while your transaction is happening, build the relationship after, because that's how you're going to become friends truly with someone.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with, because it's social media. So you do have to be social, reaching out and gaining new friends. Because I tell people in my group all the time, I said, you know what, 100 friends on your Facebook, that's not going to cut it. 100 cut it. Friends. You have to go out there and make friends. You have to go out there and proactively, but show interest in them and not shove your stuff down their throat, but let them sort of self-select, let them, you know, let the algorithm feed and push your content out there. When you do it, when you do the process, it's going to work. I know that you guys can attest to this. I have people contacted me just the other day and said, Mark, hey, I saw your post inside of a group, and then I saw this video on YouTube, and I knew I had to contact you. This was a complete stranger. A complete stranger. And there was only one reason, and one reason only, that they contacted me, and that was because they saw something that I posted on social media, nothing else. So you think just the power of what you post, and when you're posting the right things, it's going to bring those people to you, and you don't even have to force it or worry about it or try to make it work or get frustrated. You know, my comments might get 4 likes. It might get 30 likes or 100 engagements, but that's okay. So that is not truly an indication of the impact that your content is having. Would you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so let me So let me clarify. Let me clarify, because I know how I made it seem is like I just get into people's DMs and go, "Hey, Molly, you want my stuff?" But that's not the case. When I'm like, when I say don't friend zone yourself, I don't mean immediately just go for the kill, right? Like, and Molly's gonna know this very well. There is like a fishing wire line of thickness between what you would classify okay to be put on film and what is classified as pornography.
Yeah.
That fine line is just as thick between business and friend zone. So you need to know, you need to do the due diligence that you need to do. I'm not saying just be like, hey, what's up? Here's my thing. But don't gaslight someone and then make them feel like this super special person. And then all of a sudden be like, so do you want to jump on a call so I can talk to you about my awesome thing? Because everything you literally said before that point is now garbage. Absolute garbage. So that's what so when I say what I say is I have two purposes on social media. I either want a friend or I want a client. And if I want a client, there's a fine line before I'm just nailing it on the head. I'm not trying to be your friend if I'm trying to get a client.
Well, I like friend clients though.
They become friends. They become friends. But you have to like, the way I look at it is like, you need to build that relationship during the process.
Most people don't know how to do that.
No, they don't. They just, because they always look at you as a statistic. And I'm actually going to be talking about that in my next YouTube video.
Ooh, is that the emotional one?
I'm telling you, I'm pulling on some heartstrings.
Hey, and there's the hook.
I love
Lefty.
Okay, so let's keep this show going, because the next thing that he spoke about, I believe, if I'm not jumping the gun, is effort.
No.
Not yet. There's one more platform.
There's one more. Okay.
One more platform.
One more emerging platform.
So, thriving, flopping, failing, Snapchat.
Flopping.
No, it's like the needle is shaking. You know what I mean?
I'd say it's flopping, not failing, but flopping.
So, Mark, tell me why.
He talked about it's funny because he talked about it in here, and he said that it was immediately labeled as a sexting platform.
Okay, I remember reading that.
Because the pictures would show up and disappear.
I don't think it has changed. I don't think it has changed. That's my experience on there. It was inundated with solicitations, and I don't really see what its use is right now, but there are some people who are using it, and he doesn't talk about it very much, but I think he says that he talked about what it was used for, and primarily used for circulating gags and jokes. And I'm like, but you can go to a lot of other platforms and get gags and jokes in a short thing. The only viable purpose I see is in the value of your video disappearing completely. So if you want to spend time producing content and it's gone in 24 hours, have at it. But I think that's typically why the sexting industry might like it, but I don't see it like major mainstream. Not at this time.
I work with a lot of youth, and I am shocked at how many of them use Snapchat still. Like years and years. I've seen this for years. And it's because they like the idea that your video disappears, so that when you're being a goofy teenager, your life isn't going to be left on the internet for the world to see. I did see a little bit of a decline when there was that rise of people taking screenshots of those disappearing videos.
Yeah.
So a lot of people got a little bit more hesitant, but it
But then you got
started this movement of, it started this movement of media literacy and social media literacy in young people. And so from that, there's another app that, like, Lefty, I want your thoughts on Snapchat, but there's this other app that I see young people moving to now, which is called Be Real. And it takes 2 pictures at a time. It takes one picture of where you are. So just like you would on Instagram, right? You take a picture of your surroundings, and then a couple seconds later, it's going to take a picture of you. So it really shows contextually, this is what's going on. And it's meant to be the complete opposite of the curated, showy Instagram, and giving people more of a realistic view of what's going on as they're posting. And I find that really neat that that young people are using these platforms to be more realistic, to get away from the sensationalizing, to get away from that perfect curated life. And so, and I did an experiment with Snapchat a few years ago from a business perspective.
Okay.
Because I was thinking exactly what you were talking about. Why put in so much effort to videos and to content that's just going to disappear? Okay. So what did I do? I went on Canva. I took 5 minutes, not even, created a single image that had a discount code for a thing that I was offering at the time. Got people to post it on Snapchat. Even though these videos or these pieces of content disappeared so quickly, it created a thriving community of people who were like, heck yeah, I want those leggings for 50% off. Heck yeah, I do. And so it worked in a different way. Purposely going in with low energy to produce content actually had a payoff. I don't know if it would have had a payoff if I had put more energy and effort and resources into creating a more edited piece of content. But longevity for me to use it from a business perspective, only if I'm targeting a specific generation that seems to be using it more fluently.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe a carousel type post with a discount code. He didn't talk much about using it for, well, of course, this wasn't one of the main chapters, so he didn't talk about using it for business. He just talked about emerging. That's interesting. I saw a bunch of ads between videos that you're watching. And one other thing that I think Snapchat has done and that they have, what I like something about it, they've got these Bitmojis. Have you seen the Bitmojis?
I use them.
And the Bitmojis they'll actually develop these stories for you that you just really just share, and it's of you and your little emoji character. I do like that, and I like the fact that you can change outfits on that person, and I think they've been able to monetize it by actually selling like licensed gear that you can dress your character up in. So that's one of the things that I do like about it. Maybe if they I don't know what I would do to change Snapchat to make
Snapchat, look, you know what? Snapchat reminds me of that creepy phrase, like, we get older, they stay the same age. Like, it's one of those things, like, we were using Snapchat when we were like 25, 26, 27. And yeah, okay, we thought it was cool at the time. But what happened? We got older. And when we get older, we literally stopped caring for it because we realized it was just a stupid platform to be on. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, like, there's always going to be an 18-year-old. You know what I mean? There's always one more 18-year-old around the corner that is ready to adopt Snapchat, and it's always going to stay within that bubble. It's never going to excel from there unless they find a way to really push it in a way that gets youth to buy things. Like, I could see it being used very well potentially for e-commerce brands, But
Yep.
Other than that, like,
They have to have credit cards.
I think people just want to see. I honestly think people just want to see their friends like poke fun and do stupid things, and just, it's done in a day, right?
Yeah.
But
Simple.
thank you for Snapchat, because if Snapchat was never invented, then we would not have Facebook and Instagram stories.
Yeah. Quick question about that youthful and purchasing. What's the first thing you ever purchased online, Molly?
Oh, geez.
And
okay, so I used to be obsessed with buying really interesting clothing, because I had a very particular style. So I was all on eBay, like long before the turn of the millennium and things like that. So my first purchase was this pair of wide leg jeans that were covered in graffiti straight from Japan. And I had to learn that different countries had different sizing. So in Japan, it's a very different size than it is here in North America. So I had these pair of pants. They actually showed up in the newspaper because there was a story in the Toronto Star about me and my clothes. So I went to this photo shoot with these pants on, and I couldn't actually do them up. So if you ever find the archive footage of it, look at the fact that my button isn't done up, because I can't. That was my first internet purchase.
Oh man, honestly, I can't. Okay, so call me old school, but I'm a mall guy. Like, I like physically walking into a store, looking at my products, feeling them, touching them. Like, I get more of an emotional connection when I'm actually making purchasing decisions that way. It probably wasn't until I started my photography business back 6-7 years ago, and then I just started purchasing like photography assets, right? Like, like brushes and tools and like overlays and all that stuff. But yeah, I think I honestly, from what I remember, I think it was photography purchases. Like, I used to always just buy stuff, like when I'd go to the stores and buy what I need.
Yeah, I can remember back in the day when the internet just kind of was released, right? And everyone was trying. I was trying to figure out, how can I make money from this thing, right? It was like you didn't have, well, back then you only had a few major places where you could shop from, and that was eBay, and then you had all these sort of big time stores. You couldn't see Walmart or Target and those stores on there. But back then, I was trying to figure out how to make this thing work, and how could I build a site on like a GeoCities site, something like that, where I could. So I partnered with a friend of mine, and we were going into this business with it was his designs. He called it Geo Style 67, and he had designed these freaking logos to put on shirts and hats. And we would. So what we did is we found where we could buy them in bulk online. My first purchase ever. And then we ordered them, brought them in, screen printed them, and then we went to the local colleges to sell them. Always trying to find a way to make money from this computer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, I had a different way of selling, because I was always service based, right? Coming from the DJ industry and being like a music producer and all that, like it was always me that I was selling. I never cared to sell a product. I never had any physical thing that I could sell, right? So for me, it was pretty much my portfolio, watching me at live events, like, I would put up popular songs in terms of like what I was playing during my set hours, and then I would use that before Instagram would actually like flag the music in your videos.
Yep.
And it took a while for house music to be commercialized to the point where Instagram's going to say, hey, I know that song. Right. But like back then it was still very underground. So you could fool the platforms very easily because these songs were coming from like really, really tiny labels or very, very niche labels. Right. So I would put it up and maybe, I would gain my popularity because maybe the song that I decided to post about, it was, maybe somebody else saw it at another event or another party, so they could relate to that song. And then it brings them back to an emotional moment of what they had on the dance floor. And then, like, you know what I mean? And that's how the sharing happened. So that allowed me in the online world to sell myself to get more shows.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. All right. Now we're on to the next chapter. Lefty, you were ready.
Effort.
Let's talk about effort.
Talk about effort. You need effort. Effort is the backbone of your content. Like, imagine somebody just shows up online and is just like, hey guys, I'm just, here. Like, very dull, boring. Like your even your text is just like, right? Like you're like no one's gonna want, like no one wants to hang out with a Debbie Downer, right? Let's
give us Lefty's biggest tip for not being boring.
My biggest tip: don't be a Debbie Downer.
Oh yeah. How would someone not be a Debbie Downer? Is it coming into it? Can you think about something that before you come online? Is there a way that I can put myself in a particular? Because I think it's all about the state that you're in.
All right, I have it. It's here. Okay, ready? I'm gonna just disperse it out to the world right now.
I love it.
Hey, pen's ready.
Okay.
I love it.
People are not watching you as much as you think they are. So when you can finally let go of the fact that they're just worried about their own stuff and they don't actually care as much as you think they do, that's when true superpowers can shine through and come out. So it doesn't matter if like you are obsessed with cats or you sew quilts or you, like, it does not matter what you do. Just put it out there. There's no, like, I think people need to understand that they're the secret sauce, that they're the magic button. There's no magic button. Like there's no, like, you're not going to find something on the internet that's automatically going to just change your life.
Yeah.
People change people's lives, right? So when you can realize that it's you that needs to show up, you got to present yourself, you got to represent yourself is what I should say, in the way that you want to, and just stop caring about what everybody thinks. Like that's how you get away from boring. Quite frankly, I don't care what people think. If I want to put something out, I want to put something out. I'm a little controversial. Sometimes I'm a little offensive. Sometimes I'm funny. Sometimes I'm sad. I'm not meant to be for everybody, but I'm meant to be for the people that actually want to be around me. And that's what matters to me the most. And that's what everybody should strive to look for.
Yeah. That's why that's why you need to watch all the way until the end, because you never know when nuggets are going to be dropped. Bink.
Pen drop.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. And we all start off this, we all probably start off boring, but we get better. I think that is what's important. If you don't practice, you cannot become better. And it takes repetition, learning and watching others and taking those pointers. I watched you, Molly, and I get little pointers from you too. What's your tip, Molly?
I would say focus on being focus on your message. Focus on why you want to show up in the first place. Because yeah, okay, everyone wants to make money, but like, why don't you just go get a regular job then? It's easier. So there's got to be some reason why you're showing up, because you want to change the world. I use big words like that, but you have to find that core essence and fuel yourself from that point. Create your post rooted in that why, that reason why. Yeah, and I think at that point you'll start to attract people who share that same message, and people who don't, people who are against that, people who just want to trash you. You're actually going to push those people away, and then your content ends up qualifying those buyers. And if we follow what Gary Vee says, we jab, 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 jab 1,000 times, qualify that audience, nurture that audience. When we're ready to give them that right hook, that offer, they're already tuned up and ready and listening, and they are emotionally connected.
I think you've both said some variation of take the attention off of yourself. I think a lot of people are focused on themselves and what they look like, and
yes,
take the focus off of you. And you said, think about the content that you're providing. And Lefty said, don't worry about what other people think. I used to have this philosophy when I would go out in the nightclubs, right? And I would make sure that this is what I would do. I would get dressed and look in the mirror and say, okay, I look good. And that's it. I look good. And then I just go out there and don't think about myself anymore because I look good. But the funny thing is that because I had this mindset that I looked good, I think I exuded that confidence. Whether I had ketchup on my ketchup on my head or not, but you can still come off as confident with things on your face or broken glasses. You can still come off as confident when you take that focus off yourself, because as Lefty said, people aren't even thinking about you and what your problems are. They're thinking about themselves.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, you just do it for you. The people will come, right? Like, but if you don't do it for you, then it's
there's nothing for the people to come for.
There's nothing for the people to come for. Exactly. Thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. Do it like that. That's literally number one. It's just like, and people will gravitate towards, like, think of it as a class project. Okay. So when you're put into groups for a class project, the other group members really feel discouraged by you if you're just like that one lazy student that doesn't do anything and expects the rest of the group to do everything just so you can get the A, right? Yeah. Like, I look at that in the same way as your content, right? Like, you have group members for a project. You're designated one task, your audience is designated another task, and the social media platform that you're a part of is designated a certain task, right? But when your audience member sees that you're not putting in a lot of effort in the group project, that's when they're just like, I don't want to hang out here. I don't want Lefty to get the A. I like why don't we just report him to the teacher and say that, like, this is who we did the work, not Lefty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you want to pulling his weight. You're not pulling your weight. Thank you. Exactly. So people need, and it's like, I don't know. I don't tell people in a way because, for example, like, I want the business. Like, I don't tell people like, you need to create videos this way in order to do this. I don't tell people that because, I want everybody to just have this incredible polished product and you have to look this way, and if you don't look that way, you're this way, and da-da. No, I speak about it from an effort standpoint, and it has nothing to do whether it's me or the next videographer that you hire or whatever, because quite frankly, I already said it, I'm not for everybody, so I couldn't care less who you go with. But it's a matter of it's a matter of like you gotta show up in a certain way that represents you the best. And I think the best way that I could say it, because I said it yesterday in a talk, you can't be selling a Ferrari, but then your product, your brand looks like it has the budget of a Toyota Camry. Like, I can't just be on my phone going, I have this $50,000 masterclass that you need to be on right now, but I'm like in my mom's basement using a 1080p iPhone. Like, it doesn't work. If you're selling a 1K to 5K product, it works. But at some point, you got to take your brand a little more seriously if you want to get to that next level, because people will expect that level of production from you, because they're going to see that you're the real deal, right? Yeah. I put a lot of effort into my studio. I take pride into my studio. Like, imagine if it was just a white blank wall behind me and I'm like, Molly, you need this $20,000 VSL. Molly's going to be like, you're out of your freaking mind, bud.
It's interesting that you say that, because this past week I encountered something that was, I think you might start seeing more of it. And it was someone selling this course, and the entire course was not a real person, but it was this AI generated person, and it looked real, but you can tell. And in my opinion, it was garbage. In my opinion, it was garbage. If I would have bought that course, and here's someone trying to sell you, this course that says A to Z training, I would have not been happy with that course. I would not have been happy with it. I think it's funny. I saw someone post and say that AI is going to open up a lot more opportunities for more personal connections. I think so, because it's just not very. It's generic. We like to connect with humans. We like to connect with each other to feel something, not just absorb information. We can absorb information on our own. We can absorb information in books. We can listen to the audiobook ourselves. But when you want to be like, Lefty says, you want to be a $50,000 coach, you need to have a $50,000 presentation, a $50,000 course. You need to deliver it. AI. What do you think about that, Lefty?
No, it's like absolutely. Like, you just need to, like, you need to look exactly like what you're selling. I've always said that. Like, if you want to sell a 10K product, you have to look like a 10K product. But a 10K product doesn't look like a 100K product. A 100K product is on a completely different level. And same thing with a 1K product. A 1K product is not on the same level as a 10K product, right? Like, it's not only about knowledge leveling up. It's also about like the leveling up visually that needs to happen too. Everyone started out of their, like, imagine, like, okay, like we all know Steve Jobs started it out of his basement or his garage or whatever. Now imagine Steve Jobs coming to you out of his garage saying, this iPhone 14 is $2,000. You would be like, no, it's not. Right? Why can Steve Jobs sell this iPhone for $2,000? It is because the way he shows up You can tell that it's worth $2,000 in the presentation, which presentation equals commercials and advertising, right?
It's not the information, it's the transformation.
Yes, exactly. So if he was in his, like, he would probably still have 1 million users if he was turning around in his garage saying, I'm going to sell you this iPhone for $100. People would be like, okay, yeah, that sounds fair. It's like a garage sale at that point. It makes sense. But you need to get to that point where you can sell enough $100 products where now you can turn that $100 product into a $1,000 product, into $2,000 to $5,000. But there's steps that you need to take along the way. You can't look the same way you did when you were selling it for $100.
Yeah. You can't sell a phone. What you have to sell is an organizer, a map, a calculator,
a series of solutions.
Yeah, a phone, an internet connection, all in one hand, as opposed to here's a phone. No, here's what you can do with the phone.
Yeah, just like the iPod. It wasn't a music player.
Wait, Molly, wait. Wait. Okay, go.
It wasn't about just playing music. It was about having thousands of songs and thousands of albums in your pocket.
Yes.
That's my...
Oh, man, I was like, go.
Well done.
I needed to add the emotional, dramatic music.
It's a phone. It's a GPS. It's everything all in one. What you were spending thousands of dollars on is now in this one device, and it's handheld. 500 songs in your pocket. Let's go.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. All right, my friends. So that is it for jab, right hook. There is tons that we didn't cover. I recommend you picking up this fantastic book. Yes, it was written a little bit ago, but as we've discussed in the last few episodes, it's all about finding those foundations and what works now. So I hope you enjoyed joining us for this book. Next book that we will start next week is Superfans by the one and only Pat Flynn from the SPI podcast. So I highly recommend you guys pick up your copy. Join us next week. We're going to dive into the prologue and the introduction, and we're going to have a discussion about what our thoughts are about this topic before we dive in to the meat of the book. So you got time to pick up your copies, join us, be like Mark, get the physical copy and the audio book. I'm already writing all throughout my book. There's so much I can't wait to discuss with you guys.
You know what? Hey, how about Molly? You gave me an idea for something that we should end off every segment with. What are we doing for jab, right hook?
Oh, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Can I read this one last thing of the book?
Absolutely. Close us out, Mark.
I love it. I love this beginning, and it's the opportunities in emerging networks, page 171. He says that this is so true. Every year, the world becomes a little smaller, a little more social, a little more connected. Creating content that allows us to share our experiences, our thoughts, and ideas in real time is becoming an intrinsic part of life in the 21st century. In fact, it's getting to the point that we're making a statement when we don't share or we choose not to connect. Think about that. We're making a statement when we do connect and when we make a decision not to connect. Mm-hmm. That's why it's smart to consider the jab and right hook potential of platforms that aren't particularly social. It's just a matter of time before users adapt them or demand that the developers adapt them to provide the social layer that people increasingly expect and crave. Whoa, how's that for a final statement, right?
Heck yeah. Whatever isn't a social experience now will soon be.
We're living in that. We're living in it.
Yep.
And on that note, we close our books, we pop them back on the shelf, and we will see you next Thursday morning for the next episode, the next season of the Business Building Book Club. Grab your copy of Super Fans from the one and only Pat Flynn and join us on the Visibility Hackers YouTube channel, on the Create with Lefty YouTube channel, the Mental Marketer YouTube channel, the Visibility Hacking Facebook group, and all of our Facebook profiles, because we're awesome. All right, my friends, have a fantastic week.
Thanks for watching out there.
Bye.
You guys, see you.